Hi, my name is Chris Matthews, and the title of my speech is Green Roofs. Now, green roofs, I'm not sure if you've heard about them before or not, you might have, but they fall under the umbrella of green architecture, because there's not just green roofs. There's green walls, like this one, have plants growing vertically. You can have plants growing on balconies, like this. But most commonly, it's green roofs that we see, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. And here is a very famous green roof. This is City Hall in Chicago. Now, I know green roofs, it may sound kind of like this fad thing that like yuppies are into, like, I don't know, like Gwyneth Paltrow or something. But there's actually practical reasons why people are doing this, why we're seeing this rise of green roofs. And I want to talk about 3 of those reasons today. One is that green roofs can help control runoff. 2 is they reduce the heat island effect, which we'll talk about. And 3 is that they can be used for gardening. Now, I have a personal connection to this topic because my mother did her master's thesis on green roofs. She was one of the first students over at SIU to grow plants on their green roof over there back in 2011-12 when it opened up. So I hope to explain some of the benefits of green roofs, and I hope to give you a better understanding of the topic today. So first we're going to talk about runoff. If you think about cities, they're made of concrete, steel, and these aren't materials that absorb water. So when you get a lot of rain, you have to divert it somewhere because it's not just going to sink into the ground. So you have to have storm drains and other things to get rid of that water. And when it rains a lot, that puts stress on these systems. So you want the least amount of runoff that you can get. And a way to reduce runoff is by having green roofs because they absorb water. Other ways that they help reduce runoff or reduce this problem of runoff, according to Jamie Cutlip of UC Davis, green roofs are an effective tool in stormwater management by reducing the temperature, slowing the flow rate, and decreasing the amount of water runoff into local water systems. Plants also act as a filter, removing pollutants from stormwater. That's another benefit, because when you have roofs covered in tar paper and other chemical treated materials, that can get washed off by the water. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is the heat island effect. Has anyone ever heard of that before? Now, I know heat island may sound like softcore porno. It's not. Okay, probably is, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. The heat island effect is something that even if you haven't heard about it, I bet you felt. It's whenever you walk out to the parking lot on a hot day and the cars are radiating heat and the ground's radiating heat, and it's just so hot. That's not in your head. That is the heat island effect. Because these materials, such as metal and concrete, they absorb and radiate heat. Now think of that compounded many times over with all of the concrete in a big city. That can really raise the temperature. According to the Chicago Department of Environment, it can raise the temperature in a city by as much as 6 to 10 degrees. That is a significant amount. And of course, when temperatures go up, that increases your heating bill or cooling bill. So green roofs can help reduce the heat island effect because number one, they cover up these surfaces that are absorbing all this heat and then radiate it out. Also, they cool the air through a process called evaporation, which that's a whole other thing to get into, but there you go. Third, I said there's 3 reasons or 3 benefits of green roofs that we're going to talk about. We talked about that they reduce runoff, they reduce the heat island effect, and third is they can be used for gardening. That is what the green roof over at SIU is used for, and that's probably the use for green roofs that you're most familiar with. Now, green roofs used for gardening would fall under the umbrella of what's called urban agriculture, which is growing things in the city. It doesn't have to be on a roof. It could be on a balcony or in a windowsill or in your backyard, but you probably have a tiny backyard if you live in a city. According to Michigan State University researchers, one of the biggest problems for urban agriculture is the lack of land, because land in cities is going to be used for development, for building stuff, buildings, high-rises, whatever. So a roof is a nice usable space that can be used for urban agriculture. And why is urban agriculture itself important? Well, it's important for food security. Here in the US, we don't really have that problem so much, but in a lot of other countries, they don't get food shipped in from all over the world like we do. They might only get food from one food-producing region in their country, and if there's a flood or a drought, then their whole food system can be disrupted. But if you're growing food in a city, that gives you food security. According to Sam Hui from University of Hong Kong, rooftop gardens improve nutrition and food security, because it's all about having access to that food, which having rooftop gardens gives you access to food. It gives you food security. So, now we've talked about three benefits of green roofs. What are they?
Bird gardening,
Swan?
heat island.
Reduce runoff.
Reduce runoff, that's three. They reduce runoff, they reduce the heat island effect, and they can be used for gardening. Now, these aren't the only benefits of green roofs, but they're three of the more prominent ones that you may be familiar with or that get talked about a lot. So I hope you've learned a little bit about green roofs today. They're not just a fad, they're actually something practical.